Most people think you need years of trade school or apprenticeship to become an HVAC tech. And let me tell you, that is not true. I'm about to prove that wrong on how I went from running a marketing agency that only helped HVAC owners, and also I had zero technical skill to be working as an HVAC tech in my first year, now making $2,400 to $3,000 bi-weekly. And if you follow the path most people take, you'll waste months applying to jobs that ghost you, while other people with no experience are getting hired quick. Now, let's get started. All right, so here are really two ways to learn HVAC. The first way is going to trade school. The second way is learning the fundamentals online and then getting hired into apprenticeship where you'll learn hands-on, and you want to get hands-on as fast as possible. Now, as someone who's actually working in HVAC right now, my take is that you don't need to go to trade school. I didn't go to trade school. You should start learning the fundamentals online first. That doesn't mean you go on YouTube and you click random HVAC videos. Let me explain. If you have asked me years ago, I would have thought I'd never be in the trade or even trade school to even get started. And look, trade school is valuable for hands-on learning, but here's the thing. Trade school typically costs anywhere from $5,000, $10,000, maybe even $20,000, and it takes 1 to 2 years before most students even get paid. That's a lot of time and a lot of money compared to learning online. You can go through something like Course Careers HVAC course for $4.99. You can finish it in 1 to 2 months and start applying to jobs right away. You'll learn the theory and fundamentals you need to know, and then you get paid to learn the hands-on stuff once you're actually hired. In my opinion, this is the better route. So the moral of the story here is start with online learning to get the theory down fast and cheap, then get hired and learn the hands-on skills while you're actually working. This is a new method where you can learn and make money at the same time, so you don't feel held up. You don't need to spend 2 years in a classroom before someone will pay you to learn the job. So now that we've covered how to learn, let's talk about what types of HVAC work actually exist. Because here's what most people don't realize about HVAC work. There are really 4 main types of HVAC work. You've got residential, so attics, crawl spaces. You got commercial, big buildings, you got installation, and you got service. You can have a pretty successful career in any one of these fields, but they're pretty different from each other. So depending on what you want to do, you really want to look into them. So I'd like to break them down for you. I personally do residential and service. Residential service is probably the most common entry point. This is going to houses, talking to customers, doing maintenance calls, fixing AC units, diagnosing problems, just communicating to customers and letting them know how much something's gonna cost, like a capacitor, which is $215. It's what I do. Commercial is bigger systems like rooftop units on buildings, and it often requires more experience to get into. Installation is new construction work, putting in full systems and running duct work. That's the kind of thing that I'm not currently doing. And then there's service, which is diagnostics, repair, and maintenance, and also doing maintenance contracts or selling maintenance contracts. In terms of where you'll probably start, you're most likely gonna start in residential service. It's the easiest way to get in. You'll do some maintenance, some repairs, and learn how systems work in the field. When you do a maintenance, you're basically just cleaning a condenser and making sure everything's working properly. And then you get more experience. You can specialize into commercial or installations if you want. Personally, I work as a service technician. I do maintenance calls and I do diagnostic work, and sometimes I will be installing units. I spend a lot of time driving between calls, diagnosing problems, and when I'm not in the field, I'll follow up with customers to get them on like a maintenance contract, maybe to follow up on a mini split I quoted, or even a unit sale to help our company grow. One really great thing I like about my residential experience is that the hours are good. I work from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. so I have time to spend with my family, and I also have time for my hobbies like playing League of Legends or Battlefield. So in terms of like the career, it doesn't really matter which type you pick in the beginning because you're gonna start with residential service anyways, or if you get lucky, maybe commercial. You can move into the other areas later when you learn a little bit more. The important thing is just getting the first job and learning about an actual system and getting your hands on tools and actual parts. So now that you know what kind of work you're getting into, here's how you actually learn the skills. And this is where it gets practical. Where should you start learning HVAC? And this one is kind of tricky, because there are a million different ways to learn. If I were to do it all over again, from my experience, this is how I would start. So for HVAC, I think the best way to start is learning with the Course Careers HVAC course, which I mentioned earlier. I personally have gone through it and I wish I started it this way. It's taught by Tim, who worked in the field for over 12 years and ran his own HVAC business for a decade. Now he works as an HVAC consultant training contractors across North America. The guy really knows his stuff. The Course Careers covers everything you need to know and how to get started. You'll learn HVAC fundamentals like heating, cooling, the refrigeration cycle, and core system types like a furnace, heat pump, even a high static system. You learn tools, safety, which is huge because you need to know OSHA safety standards, proper PPE, lockout, tagout, and all that stuff. You'll learn piping and fabrication, so copper, soldering, steel threading, PVC installation. You'll learn a lot. And on top of that, you'll learn electrical systems, both high and low voltage, how to test motors with multimeters, and how not to shock yourself. You'll learn system components like furnace, heat pumps, compressors, refrigerants, and learn service and maintenance like filter replacement, refrigeration recovery, and evacuating a system. On top of that, you'll also know performance testing, what looks right, what looks wrong. Now here's what's cool. The course uses field demo videos, so you're not just reading about stuff in a textbook, you're actually watching Tim show you how things work on real systems. It's way more structured than just trying to find videos on YouTube. Way more valuable than just theory. And most graduates complete the course within 1 to 2 months, depending on how their schedule works and how much time they can put into it. At the same time, they are working a job right now and waiting for a transition. And on top of that, it only costs around $499 to start. Compare that to trade school, which is thousands of dollars and takes 1 to 2 years. It's just a way faster and cheaper option to get into the trade. Now, if you want extra help, there's also optional coaching available with HVAC professionals who are currently working in the field, and it's affordable to you. And you can add it on if you feel like you need that extra support, so there's no excuse on why you can't succeed in HVAC. I personally haven't got into HVAC because of Course Careers, but I did go through the course. And because I learned a lot on the job, I think that the Course Careers and learning on the job is a great resource for people who want to get into the trade. It gives you the foundation that you need to be taken seriously when you're applying for jobs. If I was trying to break into the field today, this is definitely how I would start. But tutorials and Course Careers aside, the absolute best way to learn HVAC is to get your hands dirty, is to get your hands on systems and little contactors like this and start working on actual systems, cleaning units. You're not gonna learn HVAC just sitting on your computer or on your butt. You need to get out there and get hired so you can work on real service calls. And these jobs don't even have to be perfect. You just need to get out there and put your hands on things. The important thing to get is that you'll get stuck. You will get frustrated and you'll have to figure out how to solve these problems. I've been in hot attics where I've been stuck in there for 4 hours. Not fun, but part of the trade. And it's all part of the process. So the course gives you the fundamentals that you need, but the real learning happens when you're on the job. Which leads me to my next point, which is where most people mess up on the job search section. So I'm about to give you the sauce. So here's what I think you need to do to land your first HVAC job. I guess here's how I would go about it if I were to do it all over again. So step 1, go through the Course Careers and get the fundamentals down. This should take between 1 to 2 months. You need to know the theory, you need to know the systems, you need to know how safety procedures work. That's it. That's your foundation. You need to make sure you understand that so you're not walking in clueless. Step 2, this is the most important part that a lot of people just aren't doing. You want to contact 30 to 50 local HVAC companies and ask if they're hiring. I'm not kidding. 30 to 50 companies. You call them, you go in person, get in front of them. HVAC is a local business. It's built on relationships. You can't just be applying online and hoping you get lucky. These guys are working out in the field. They're running a business. They're not looking through resumes. And here's why local matters. When you show up in person or call directly, it shows initiative. It shows that you're serious, and HVAC companies aren't like tech companies where everything is remote. They want to see that you're actually in the area, that you're willing to work, and that you're reliable, and that also you're willing to show up to the job. They also want to know what you look like and if you can fit the need that they have. Step 3, start going to interviews. And here's the thing, you don't need to be picky at first. The goal is just to start to get experience. Take the first job that will train you and pay you, learn on the job. You can always switch companies later once you have some experience under your belt. And when you have experience under the belt, you can get paid more. Now, here's the secret. For landing your first job, you need to sell yourself as a high value employee. Your boss is hiring you for a reason. So ask the boss what their 1, 5, and 10-year goals are for the company and how they want to get there. Then you want to figure out how you can help them get to their goal faster, and tell them, make sure they can see that you're coachable and eager to learn. A lot of the guys in the trade have high ego. They're not coachable, and that's why they're not making that much money. So if you're handy and you know how to use tools, or if you have other skills like sales, customer service, marketing, that's a bonus. But really what they want to see is that you're someone who can learn, who has a good attitude, and who can solve problems. And look, you're gonna need reliable transportation. You're gonna need to pass a drug test most likely. Those are just the basics. But overall, it's about your attitude. And on top of that, you're probably gonna need to buy your own tools. Overall, if you have the willingness to learn, you will succeed. So the last point that I wanna hit on is the timeline to landing your first HVAC job. And this one's a little more up to you. This is what I would do if I was learning HVAC from scratch again. So I guess take my advice with a grain of salt, but this is the realistic path. I would personally spend about 1 to 2 months going through the Course Careers course. If I'm like you, I probably have a job right now. So do this between 5 and 9 p.m. just to get the fundamentals down. If you can put in 10 to 15 hours a week, you can get through it in that time. So you don't want to wait to finish the course to start reaching out to companies. You kind of want to do both at the same time. You can start making those calls and sending those emails while you're still going through the course. Or you can wait until you finish and then start applying. It's honestly up to you, but what I would do is do both at the same time to speed up the process. In terms of how long it takes you to actually land a job, it will vary. Wintertime is slow time, so you might not get hired right away, but you could land a job within a few weeks of finishing the course, or it could take 2 to 3 months. It really depends on your local market, the season, how many companies you contact, and how you do the job interviews. If you need to brush up on your job interview skills, that might be your bottleneck. Let's talk about money, because I know that's what everyone wants to know. Entry-level HVAC technicians typically start around $54,000 a year. As you gain experience and certifications, you can reach up to $77,000 a year or more. The top techs I know are making around $80,000 to $100,000 a year. Businesses owner make way more. I went from making $500 a week to $2,400 to $3,000 bi-weekly, which works out around $60K a year. And I'm commissioned. So if I sell a unit, a maintenance plan, I get extra money for that. So that's how I'm able to make $60,000 a year. The money is definitely there, and with experience, lots of HVAC techs start their own business. That's where you get real control over your schedule and income. I know some people that work 3 times a week. I know people that work 7 times a week. It just depends how you want to structure your own business. I saw how much money my HVAC clients were making when I had my marketing agency. With my sales ability, I figured I might as well learn the trade that's AI proof and can support my family long term. I just saw too many HVAC owners have really big houses and big families, and that's what I wanted. 1 to 2 months to learn the fundamentals is easy. Start applying while you're learning or right after, and 2 to 4 months total to land your first job, making $44,000 a year to start, with room to grow to like $75,000 or more. But ultimately, it's up to you. The faster you go through the course and start applying, the faster you get hired. Let's recap this. We covered why online learning beats trade school for speed and cost. We talked about what types of HVAC work exist. We went over where to learn the fundamentals and why Course Careers is a solid option. We also covered how to land your first job by reaching out to local companies and selling yourself as someone who wants to help their company grow and be an asset to their business, making it a good decision for them to hire you. We also talked about the timeline, which is realistically 2 to 4 months from starting to getting hired if you're putting in the work. Now, if you want to get started with HVAC, the link to the Course Careers free intro course is in the description below. You can check it out, see if it's a good fit for you, and if you decide to go for it, you can get the full course and start learning all the fundamentals. This is how I would do it if I were starting from scratch today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys out in the field.